So we're now in the 15th week of working together at this point, and so Tara has a photo shoot coming up this weekend, which we're both very excited about. So I just wanted to ask you, what was your situation before coming into the start of this coaching process 14 weeks back?
Yeah, so previously, a couple of years back, I'd done a photo shoot. That was my first ever one at that point. So I knew that at that point I would want to do another one again to kind of showcase the changes in my physique. Spent a lot of time since moving to Dubai building my physique, building my business as I moved here. And then 14, 15 weeks back, I was just starting to prep for my photo shoot really. Maybe a couple of months before that by myself. I kind of decided at that point then that I wanted to take my photo shoot prep up to the next level, gather like a little bit more detail, more information, more education, bring someone else on board so that they could help me, give me the accountability and detail needed to push my physique a level up from where I'd ever taken it before in my fat loss phase. And I guess as well learn about my physique and how it might be different than other physiques and how they would lose body fat. So
very cool. A lot of growth since moving to Dubai.
Yeah, definitely growth in multiple areas.
Right, second question. So speaking of photo shoot, what have you learned going through the coaching process so far? Like if you were to sort of almost give like 2 or 3 big takeaways you've had, what would you say?
I think for me being a coach, I've learned a lot about when you would make decisions based off the data that we've collected, that I'll hopefully put forward to my clients as well as we go through the process, particularly around like the menstrual cycle and you know how that can impact fat loss. When you would kind of pull back a little bit and when you would push forward around the cycle with regards to dropping calories and the demand for energy and things like that. And supplementation and how that can kind of help the process as well and minimise any kind of negative impacts of the menstrual cycle so that you can achieve the best possible result really. Probably the main one.
Don't need any more, that's perfect. So obviously this is not your first rodeo as far as photoshoot preps goes, and of course you've also done a lot of lifestyle and photoshoot preps with clients as well. What advice would you give to people out there who are maybe considering, they've maybe done a transformation before, maybe they've not, but they're considering a photoshoot transformation as a goal, as an ambitious goal? What would you advise them? What tips would you give to people considering it?
First of all, I'd say absolutely go for it. Like, don't hold anything back. For me personally, it's more of like a mental thing. I feel like pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone to do something like a photo shoot or a big transformation is so important. In life in general, like I feel like once you build those kind of like habits and routines and everything's set nice and solid, whether you have your own business, like your relationship with others around you, everything gets a little bit better whenever you're really focused and dialed in on yourself. And I've definitely seen that through the process of setting that solid routine and the habits, even my own business, like everything gets a little bit better whenever you're putting that time and effort into yourself 100%. As well as the great end result, obviously, hopefully on Sunday, inshallah.
So if anyone's watching this and they were maybe thinking, I'd maybe quite like to reach out to Ross and work with him as a coach, what would you say to those people that maybe at the moment they've been thinking about it or they're sitting on the fence? What would you tell those people?
100% say go for it. I feel like the amount of value that you get out of the process is so worth it, and never mind just the short-term process of what you get throughout the X amount of weeks of working with that person. You will always take away the value of the education and everything you learn inside that time that you can continue to reinvest yourself then in the future, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years down the line, anytime you want to kind of achieve something similar. So 100%.
And final question is, after the photo shoot, what's next for you?
Oh, that's a good question. Curveball, you threw that one at me. I think probably for the next little while, again, just like sticking on the theme of the kind of comfort zone, I'll pick something else that would push me in another direction outside of my comfort zone. Maybe something performance-based, maybe a little bit of a high rocks or something like that. Don't quote me on it or anything. But yeah, probably something along those lines.
I think it's interesting because people think of these body composition goals and they see it as if it's just a purely vain or aesthetic endeavour. But the reality is a lot of what you get from going through that process, it sets, as you said, these foundations and habits, but there's also crossover into other fitness pursuits, which you've obviously alluded to now. It sometimes puts you in such a good headspace that you just feel like, well, what can I do next?
Exactly.
And so this, whether it's high rocks or crazy people who go and do marathons and things, but it's cool. It's really nice to hear that it's sort of an aspirational thing to do, and it sort of pushes you in other directions sometimes as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess it's like there's no end goal, it's just a journey and continuing to readjust and move the goalposts a little bit and enjoy the process of getting there. So hopefully.